And we're back for what is this, week 7? Pivotal week.
Week 7, 6 weeks in.
It's crazy. I can't
It's
believe we're already 6 weeks in. I feel like it just started not too long ago.
I know, right?
So much fun. Let me share my screen. That's some corrosion stuff that we won't get into. We will get into last week's matchups real quick, just to kind of do an overview. Um, I like look how many only two teams were above 100, and only one was in the 90s, and then everybody was in the 80s or less. I mean, what a low scoring week for the first week of buys, and there weren't even that great of teams on buys. Like Tennessee has Derrick Henry, that's about it. Las Vegas has a few players, but not even really that good of teams on buys, and really low scoring week. You have any observations?
Yeah, I actually need to pull it up right now to look at average scores, but I know I had seen, I don't know if it was on Monday Night Football, but like scoring is down significantly this year
Hmm.
in the NFL. It's been rumors that the defense, has finally caught up to the Mahomes and Allens and
Yeah.
basically are playing, a deep cover like 2 or 3, just basically making sure everything goes underneath, but scoring has just been down. So we go through these matchups. I'm in the background. I'll try to get what average scoring is through this week versus past seasons, because I it has to be down.
Yeah. Poor Shmi with the third highest scoring and had to play CT and took the L that week. That's a bummer. And I thought I was going to be one of the lowest, and we had two lower than me, 54, 50. I had a pretty pitiful week, and CB. I haven't looked it up, but I think CB had the best quarterback of the week, and he had 43 points. So that's a really good start to your week, or that's a really good way to win if your quarterback can put up 43. So congrats,
Yeah,
CB.
that's rough.
It's all good. Let's go into the standings real quick after the results from last week. I'm on a 2 game losing streak. Not fun. Back to 3-3. But you probably have more stats than this. But it seems a lot more bunched than in years past, where the worst record is 2-4 and only a game, out of a playoff. Like RO's really a game and some points out of being in the playoffs, and he's in 12th.
Yeah, this
So
this this could bunch together. Like you said, nobody's really out of it with the mess of three teams and the two,
mhm,
which honestly quite mirrors what's going on in the NFL. I mean, you've
yeah,
got the Philadelphia Eagles undefeated, but outside of like a couple of teams, it seems like everybody's within 2-4, 4-2. So
hmm,
yeah, a lot of parity out there. I do see Jack started 0-3. The three wins in a row is back to 3-3, and he hit his 100th career victory, joining CT as the second person in league history to hit the century mark. So, congrats, Jack.
congrats. We knew he wouldn't stay down there too long. Herbert didn't even have that good of a game last week, and he still won. So yeah, Herbert got him 7.
Yeah.
He only put up 68 points and won. That's kind of pathetic, but it's a W. So
Yeah, and I did pull that data. This is pretty shocking. Through 6 weeks of the season, this year is the third lowest scoring season we've ever had since we started the league in what,
wow.
2010.
Hmm.
Um, by contrast, last year was the highest scoring through 6 weeks. So last year we were averaging 106 and a half per
Hmm.
team per week. This year we're averaging 92.2 points per team per week. So I mean that is just a massive spread between last year and this year. And yeah, so if you're, I think historically 100 points gets you a win. This year,
Hmm.
the average is only 92. So it is
Hmm.
significantly lower, at least thus far into the season.
That's crazy. What a substantial drop off. I can't believe that between
Yeah, it's
just 1 year.
well, in 2020 was I mean, 2021 and 20. So if you go the top 4 years in a row, you go it's 2021, 2020, 2018, 2019. So
Hmm.
this is a huge correction back,
Hmm.
that just breaks from the trend that we've seen. And like you said, we're coming up on bye weeks now. So I don't think scoring's going to get all that much hotter.
Yeah, this is a huge, significant bye week with some of the top teams out. So a lot of people are losing top players that have helped them gain some wins in the past. But um, that was a good review of the standings and last week. So let's get
I can
into this week.
Yeah. Do you want me to go to data really quick? Because I can wrap up the
Yep,
standings a little bit too here, if you don't mind.
go ahead.
All right, so I've got the luck metric kind of standings pulled up here, which I don't know if you can see. I'll zoom in a little bit. Whoops. So essentially, we have our actual standings that Jerry went through here on the left, along with the power index. And then here is what the projected records should be if basically there is 100% correlation between your basically total points and your win percentage. So
Hmm.
what you can see is CT still remains quite unlucky. He's actually him and Taylor are still the two unluckiest teams in league history so far. He should be 6-0. Taylor should be 5-1. When in reality, they're two. I don't know why it's showing a bye. Something's messed up here, but
Yeah.
essentially CT's 2-4 and Taylor is 2-4 as well. So both of them kind of getting some rough luck here. And conversely, you've got somebody like Maud who should be 1-5, but is in the playoff mix right in the middle of it. So he continues to be quite lucky. So we're still seeing quite a bit of luck playing out here. I'm right on the dot. My 3-3 record is exactly
Hmm.
what it should be.
Hmm.
But it's always kind of fun to see who's kind of had some misfortune and who's had some fortune. Additionally, as we go into kind of where PI data is at this year, the big question is how's CT comparing? I know his record's not there, but he's still third all time in power index at a 204. Shmi's paradox again starts to pull away, but you can see where the luck factor is taking into account that,
Hmm.
both Taylor's one whole standard deviation basically away from an average team in league history, whereas CT's two standard deviations away with that 204 power index. So despite their records, their points suggest that they have very strong teams. We've got a lot, and this is where you said, Jerry, in records, everything's mixed, but especially on this lower end, like there's going
Hmm.
to be some teams that get in that aren't all that great, at least based
Hmm.
on total points so far in the season. There's just a big cluster of teams. So nobody's really, except for Maud, floating around in the negative sides of power index. Maud's negative 147 is kind of climbing up there, so something to watch. But yeah, basically CT still in paradox territory, but falling off pace a little bit. So that's kind of the major things I wanted to get into this week in terms of data.
That looks great. That's some great analysis there of what the league looks like and how the luck. I mean, with head to head, it is kind of a luck factor, but we
That's why we play head to head. It's
yeah,
not griping about I would hate to play rotisserie style fantasy football and just do total points only, but it is kind of always just an interesting conversation point to juxtapose the two metrics.
for sure. I do play in a roto points only, and there's pros and cons to each.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
this one with all our buddies is a lot more fun. I'd love doing it this way with all of us.
Agreed.
We'll go into let's get into the matchups. We'll go into Wes and Nels.
Yep.
They neither of them had a person go yesterday, so we get a true picture of Sunday and Monday games of what their teams are going to do. So, do you have any stats on these guys?
Yeah, so Nels is 8-5 all time against Wes. Heading into this matchup, Wes has won 3 in a row, which is
Oh wow.
no, I'm sorry, Nels has won three
Oh,
in a row.
okay.
So he's 8-5, including 3 in a row. So Wes started out a good 5 for 5 against him, which is admirable against Nels. Good player, but Nels has
Hmm.
had his number the last couple of times.
Very nice. Getting into the matchups, I mean, right off the bat, Nels has two great matchups with Carr against Houston. Houston's been really bad on the rush defense, but if you can if you can run the ball, that kind of sets up the pass. So Derek Carr and could have a big day. But then of course Wes has Josh Jacobs, so they're really going to be interested in who's scoring in that Las Vegas Houston game. That's going to be very interesting. I mean, if Jacobs vultures a couple, couple touchdowns within the 5 or within the 10, that's going to be huge points for Wes and take away a lot of points from Carr or vice versa. So I don't know if we actually in Dallas West might get the Houston game, but we'll see if Nelson and them are paying attention to that. CD Lamb against Detroit, their defense is awful. He's got a great matchup. Christian Kirk, I feel like has kind of been tailing off the last couple weeks.
Yeah.
He had 3 double-digit
His
games,
target
and
share
then
is down. Yeah.
yeah, he not a great matchup against the Giants. They were able to tame Lamar. Lamar only threw for like I think under 200 yards. So he's getting a good running back, and Pierce. I wouldn't count much on Robinson. I almost said Bijan Robinson, but I think that'll probably be next year. Bijan Robinson.
Yes.
Um,
Fuck that.
Mark Andrews is, I think, okay. He returned to practice yesterday. He wasn't practicing, but it looks like he's practicing today. So that's been huge. 3 20-point weeks for a tight end. Tight ends are, it's really hard to get points unless you're Kelsey.
Can't believe
So
two people traded that guy.
Robinson is. I've been hearing on a lot of podcasts. James Robinson has been trending down. I don't think this is a good matchup. I haven't looked up the stats, but I think the Giants' defense has been playing really well and has been keeping the Giants in games, and that's why they have this 5-1 record. I don't really think it's the Giants' offense doing anything, so this doesn't really bode well. Tampa Bay versus Carolina is great. Um, he should expect some points. Maybe he can get like lucky with the Cardinals. The Cardinals had 2 pick sixes last night, so Nelson's going to need some points from there. So Wes always doesn't know which quarterback to play. I get in that situation at times, but he's going with Rodgers right now. Against Washington. Washington has a great D line. Looks like there could be some weather, but I think Rodgers is the play. I mean, you don't want to be playing Wilson. I think he's hurt, and he's just been atrocious. So Scary Terry. Green Bay's defense was supposed to be really good going into the season, but they've been pretty atrocious. So maybe Scary Terry can get going, but now he's got Heineke throwing to him. Do you
And
think that's an
Brennan
upgrade, or
forecast. Yeah.
do you think do you think Heineke's an upgrade for him or a downgrade?
Man, it's a good. I don't know. Quite honestly,
I don't either. I think they have pretty good connection when
good
they're
connection.
playing,
Yeah.
but well, he's got this was one of the draft picks where it's like, there's no way Brees Hall is going to be that good, and I was dead wrong. I mean,
Yeah. He's been good.
wait, I mean, what a running back to just stick in when you have Miles Sanders on a
Yep.
bye. You just
Yep.
stick in Brees Hall, who's been killing it, and Josh Jacobs against the worst rush defense, through 6 weeks. I mean, those are two great
Matchups.
matchups
Yeah.
to have. Kelsey is a stud. It's crazy that these are probably what number one, number two tight ends going against each other, and then I'm more of a Debo Samuel fan, but Ayuk is getting a lot of targets. He had a
Got two
big game.
TDs last
Yeah,
week. Yeah.
he had a big game against Atlanta and KC. That could be a shootout.
Yep.
So I don't expect Ayuk to do that again, but his arrow is trending up, and that's a pretty good flex play. Carlson, Tennessee. I don't really know about the defense. I think maybe that's the one check mark Nels gets, but oh man, this is gonna be tough.
Yeah. It's
Who are
tough.
you
I
who are
mean,
you picking?
yeah. So I look at this, and if you just look at standings, you go first versus 11th. West
Right.
should handle this, but I think this is a dogfight. I give Nels credit. I mean, who would have thought at the beginning of the year that Kyler Murray wouldn't be a plug and play, always start? But
Yep.
I'm sure he was worried about the Thursday night matchup and just
Hmm.
Kyler playing like shit. I mean, he got 19, but I think Carr can eclipse that potentially. So I think his quarterback choices could pay off here. She said, it might all come down to the tight ends. You got star tight ends on both sides. But for me, this comes down to defense. I think Nels is going to win out because Tampa's going against Carolina, has no McCaffrey. Baker's been downgraded to doubtful, I think I saw. Like that team is going to be a freaking disaster. Like I
Hmm.
could easily see them getting a touchdown or two on defense and that being the difference.
Yeah, I was leaning because I always look at the running backs. I feel like running backs are scarce, and Wes has two really good ones, but I think the
Yep.
overall team and matchups, I'll go Nels as well. I know Wes will love to hear that because I think I've picked against him every week except one,
Just got to keep with it.
and this one is going to be good. I expect this one to be pretty high scoring, unlike last week. But I'm excited to see who comes out on this one because it seems like a pretty fair bout.
Yep.
Very nice. All right, let's go to the next one. We'll go to you versus Jack.
Oh boy. So me versus Jack, all time I've got a leg up on him 10-9 versus my former roomie. But I did lose last year and it broke a 5-game win streak that I had going against Jack. So Jack's gotten back on the right side. He'll be looking to tie it up versus me.
Very nice. Without going into all the players, he doesn't have a defense. So we'll have to see who he can pick up.
The Green Bay defense comes off waivers on 10-22. That's for sure who he's got a claim in for with a good matchup against Washington's backup quarterback. Guaranteed that's what he's doing.
Yeah, so far I feel like I'm an idiot. Not an idiot, but I dropped Philly and you picked them up, which was a great pickup. And then I dropped Green Bay. I was tired of them not doing
But I
anything
had to
for me.
drop Philly. Yeah,
Because when they
unfortunately,
buy.
just buys, and I have all my
Yeah,
quarterbacks coming off injury. I just got in a roster crunch. But yeah,
he's probably waiting for. So Green Bay does have a good matchup, but I've had them for some good matchups and they've been pretty bad. Anywho,
yeah.
Herbert versus Seattle can't get any better than that. Hopefully Herbert bounces back from last week. I have him in a big money league.
Yeah.
And I'm really hoping Herbert can sling it around. Lazard probably wide receiver number 1 for Green Bay. Hopefully Rodgers is slinging it for Wes and he's hitting Lazard for Jack. So the Williams to Herbert double up. Williams did nothing really last game. He kept finding. I mean, Herbert threw it 57 times and he only got 2 receptions. That's crazy. But hopefully they have a better game against a pretty weak Seattle defense. Hunt has been kind of out of the mix lately. I don't think he's been getting very. He only had 4 attempts. I mean, they're getting blown out, but still. Hopefully the game script goes well for Jack, but against Baltimore and Lamar at Lamar, I don't think that's really going to play in favor for Hunt's game script. Montgomery coming back on Monday night. New England historically pretty good defense, but he's been a pretty focal point of that offense because the offense is atrocious. So he's really kind of the only bright spot out of that. This is a good pickup, or I don't know if you had him if you picked him up, but Brate is out. So, Tom Brady slings it to so many different receivers, loves his tight ends. That's a pretty good pickup. Pollard, he's kind of the backup to Zeke, but I mean, if you're going to play
I've
him
got
against
Zeke, so that'll be an interesting dynamic to see who gets the. I mean, Pollard gets usually the big plays, and it's going to come down to does Pollard get a big play or not, or does Zeke, just pound it on Detroit and get the lion's share this week? Lion's share, nice.
Very nice
I didn't
tidbit
even
there.
think about that. Yeah.
The Detroit run defense is really bad. I think they're up there with Houston. So, I mean, not the 1 week, but if you're going to play them, that's a great matchup to play them. So, you get Dak back. So hopefully you get some quarterback stability from here on out. Even though you've rostered half the league quarterbacks
I had to cut them
at
all.
one point. Yeah, you got rid
because
of
they
them
all came back off the injury report.
I think they said Waddle's going to play, so that's great news for you.
Especially if Tua's back and actually starting.
I haven't read anything on Tua. Do they think he's going to play?
I honestly, I was gonna play Dak regardless. Go down. He's on my bench. See what it says.
For who?
Tua. I think he's completely cleared now.
Oh yeah, it says to start. Yeah. I'm surprised I haven't seen that. That came out Monday, so that's great. That's great news for Waddle. I mean, he had all those yards with Skylar Thompson and Bridgewater throwing to him. I mean, you would hope he's going to get a lot more with Tua. So, and Pitt's a great matchup for that. So you'll be plugged into that Sunday night game.
Yeah.
I hate when it glitches like that. Metcalf, if Lockett doesn't play, that's going to be a great matchup, but I'm really hoping Lockett plays, have him in another league. But Metcalf is a good with the game scripts. I would think the Chargers are up on Seattle, which kind of stinks for you because he has Herbert, but Geno could be slinging it around and hit Metcalf. Dylan's really been on the decline lately. He's got 10 attempts, but only 41 yards. I've heard on some.
It's terrible. Yeah.
I've heard on some podcasts that he has just not really had his value that he had preseason, and the Green Bay offense and running backs in particular have kind of been way below expectations, but
Mhm.
maybe he can bounce back against Washington. Zeke, oh yeah, you guys have Zeke versus Pollard. Wow, that would stink if Pollard gets a touchdown, you lose, out on potential
Yep.
here or vice versa. So you're going to be tuned into that Cowboys game. Tunyon was a great pickup. I almost dropped Fryermuth for him to see if I going into game time if I wanted to pick Tunyon. It seems like last game Rogers was really targeting him, and he may have, he's not really having a good rapport with his other receivers. So maybe it's down to Tunyon, and he can get a lot more. I think he's going to break this 5 pretty easy. So you guys both have good lower tier tight end matchups. I haven't really watched Atlanta or read anything about them. I guess he's probably the lead back, but I know he's fighting for some time with some of the other backs. So
I mean, he's getting over 10 carries since Cordarrelle's been out, but he hasn't flashed anything. I mean, he's the RB1 for now, but he's not
mhm.
anything special.
Oh man, was the Cardinals defense on waivers? But yeah, I would have thought they would have held Kyler in check, but this defense has been pretty bad the last couple weeks. I mean, they've given up 30, 30, 32 in the NFL. That's quite a bit. And then 28 before that. So,
Yeah, I debated between waiting for Green Bay defense, picking up the Giants defense, or rolling with New Orleans. And I thought, with Thursday night, maybe
almost
Kyler
made a
wouldn't be
shit show.
ready,
Yeah.
throw a pick and get something, but they really didn't give me much of anything.
So, I mean, not to crap on your team, but compared to last matchup we looked at, I feel like this one's going to be a lot lower scoring. There's some holes in the running backs and
Totally.
the, I mean, that happens on bye weeks and the holes in the flex. Mm,
Yeah, I can get if you're mulling it over, I'll give my 2 cents. I mean, to me, Jack doesn't have a defense in here yet. New Orleans D got me next to nothing. Jack does win out on the bye luck here. My tight end 1 and my wide receiver 1 are both out on bye. He's got AJ
mm.
Brown out, but huge advantage for Jack there. I think on a normal week, I would take my roster over Jackson. I think I'd probably win most of those battles this week. I mean, with my defense getting 1 and just the bye
Hmm.
week, I think it's an ugly matchup, and he wins in the high 70s.
Um, yeah, I just don't know what to do with Dak. But it is a great matchup. But with his first week back, who knows? But if they hand the ball off, maybe he'll hand it off to Zeke in the end zone a lot.
I'm a big Cowboys fan this week, as
I
long as
know.
it's not Pollard.
I'm gonna go with Bryson. I'm gonna go with you. There's no really rhyme or reason. Like we went over it. Both teams have some holes. Both teams have some great matchups. I think Zeke is gonna have a good game against Detroit, and you've got some other pieces. So
Here's the
I'm
other
gonna
piece
pick
that
you.
could come into play is he's got Pollard. If Pollard scores, there's a good chance it's a passing touchdown too, which
Hmm.
could help me out for Dak. So maybe it's the Zeke and Prescott versus Pollard dynamic here that hopefully helps me out.
Good luck. Good
It's
luck.
gonna be ugly. If I win, it's gonna be ugly.
Let's go CT versus RO.
Okay, so CT is an impressive 11-6 all time against RO, including
Wow.
3 in a row against RO. So I mean, CT's really got his number here.
I think CT is about to make it 4, but we'll get into the matchup.
Yeah, I say I can give a high level overview. You get into the matchup because I mean, I looked at this and it's like, holy shit, RO is on bye week hell. He's got
Yes.
Cook and Cup out this week. I mean, to me, that's all needs to be said. CT's got his
Yeah.
full squad available and has the best team in the league via power index, and RO is on bye hell. So I mean, we can get into the numbers, but I'm picking CT by 1,000.
Yeah. We knew going into it was going to be tough with his top 2 guys out and CT having a juggernaut team. The only saving grace that RO maybe has is one. Last time I laughed off a CT opponent, Scales ended up winning, and 2, he had McCaffrey just get traded, and they think he's going to play, but there's no way he knows the offense or really what to do blocking wise. So even if he's in, I don't think he'll do it a whole lot, but still not a bad flex play to have McCaffrey, and then he had he has Henry and Barkley, and
Do you
Juju
think
had his best
McCaffrey,
game.
just thinking about that, Josh, I'm just curious, what do you
Hmm.
think? Does this help McCaffrey's value or hurt it or about the same?
I think it. I would think it helps it. I mean, I hate to be following the masses, but I mean, just with Garoppolo not having like the biggest arm and not being extremely accurate, like it would be bad if he went to the Bills because Josh Allen likes to throw it down the field. He doesn't really hit Singletary at all. I think Singletary runs like the most routes, but is like targeted the least. I feel
Yeah.
like Jimmy could just dump it off to him a lot, and they could run with him and Debo Samuel in both in the backfield. I think it really helps. And
Yeah,
well,
I think
and
it's at
Shanahan.
worst net neutral for what you like. I think he won't get as many touches and emphasis. Obviously, that offense has more options, but
Hmm.
and I do worry like Debo's going to siphon off some touchdowns, but he wasn't getting a lot of touchdowns in Carolina
Yeah,
because the offense was garbage. So, yeah, I'm with you. It's probably overall an
I
upgrade.
think, and with Shanahan, I mean, he's
Yeah,
a running back whisperer, so I definitely feel like it's an upgrade.
yeah.
So he's got after this week, unless there's buys, he's got Barkley, Henry, and McCaffrey going forward. Pittman, if Matt Ryan, who I think is like had like the second best week last week, if he keeps slinging it, Pittman's going to be part of that. He's their best receiver. I know there's other pieces like Pierce, but Pittman is wide receiver
He's
number one.
a PP. I mean, we're not PPR, but
Right,
he's 10, 12 targets every game. Yeah,
for
he's
sure.
great.
New England defense has been playing well. I think CT regrets not putting him in 1 week, but this week he's got a great matchup against Chicago. Mahomes, San Fran had his number in that one Super Bowl, but this is a different team. Um, I think their defense is okay, but I think San Fran has a lot of defensive guys on IR. Like at the beginning of the year, they were one of the best defenses, but I feel like San Fran is pretty
They
banged
did
up. So
that stud safety who's like in his second or third year is
yeah,
out, right? Yeah.
I think so. And not to, it's just a bad time
Yeah. This is
to
going to be a slaughter. No
yeah,
offense to RO. I just think he's run into a buzzsaw and he's wounded.
right. I mean, he's got running back number one in Miami, but Mostert isn't that great.
Yeah.
Gordon is not that great, splitting time in Denver, and he's fumbling issues. He's got DA against a great matchup, but not sure if Lockett will
Lockett won't
play.
play. Lawrence is against the Giants. Like, even like, yeah, it's just rough all around, I think.
We're both gonna pick CT and good luck, RO.
Yep. Good luck.
All right. Next we'll do me versus
You
Maze. So
Yeah,
you had
so this is a fitting matchup between the worst win percentage manager and the losingest manager of all time, and you guys are 5-5-1 all time. You did win the matchup last year, but yeah, this is a Woat versus Woat.
yes. I'm one of the lowest, yeah, all-time loser in this league, and versus the percentage that we've given Mays a lot of crap for. But this year he's 3-3, and you can see this is a pivotal matchup uh, for the standings. We were talking so much about Mays being, like one of the worst teams, and then of course I get him in a week where he gets Jonathan Taylor back. He has, Benjamin that he paid $50 for, and we all laughed at, but he could now maybe pass James Conner, even if Conner's back healthy. I didn't watch the game, but this score could have been a lot higher, and I'm not just trying to reverse jinx. They gave it to that other running back at the 3, and he scored. That could have been easily 8 more yards, and he gets another bonus. So I was really lucky for it to
Yeah.
stay at 19. I did get 11 from Lutz, which kind of mitigated it, but that's a great start for Mays. And before these guys even played, I looked at it. I mean, Mays has, Brady against Carolina. Brady was so pissed last game. He's going to take it out on Carolina. Carolina's offense is horrendous, but their defense is okay. But I think Brady's going to try and even if he gets to the one, he's going to run it in or throw it in. He's mad. Sutton is an okay receiver. I mean, it depends what Russ does. I think the Jets defense has been a surprise, and if like Sauce
Yep.
Gardner is on him, that's going to be a tough matchup. Uh,
Gallup should get a boost with Dak back, you would think.
for sure, that's a good team.
Plus
That's a good
matchup.
matchup to play. And then Taylor coming back. I mean, it was my worst nightmare. It's Maze's, good luck
Well, he's
charm,
been
and
not great.
Swift
The O
too.
line in Indy is shit this year. So,
Yeah, and he's
and then
got
Swift
Swift.
is on track to play, right?
Yeah, I believe
Yep.
so.
Yep.
He was limited in practice, and
Yep.
so Mays has some good matchups. Lamar has, I mean, if he had 3 great weeks, look at, I mean, 25 isn't amazing, but it's not bad. Definitely take 25. 56, 50, and the last have all been under 20. I'm really hoping he busts it out this week. This is the one week where I can't choose between quarterbacks because Hurts is on a bye. So please, Lamar, save me because next week I'm not going to play him against Tampa Bay. But uh, Godwin, hopefully this helps mitigate some of the. If he keeps finding Evans, I'm going to be in trouble. But if he keeps finding Godwin, that could help neutralize Brady. Uh, I think Myers is wide receiver 1A. So hopefully, I think Mac Jones is back and he's hitting
Yeah.
Myers, even though Zappy kind of had the rapport with him. Mixon has one of the worst yards per carry in the league, but Atlanta should be a good matchup. I think Chubb ran all over them when he played them. Yeah, he had 118 yards. Not that Mixon is Chubb, but I
Yep.
mean it's a decent matchup. At Baltimore is going to be tough. I don't expect Chubb to have a very good game. I think that 14 is probably a little high, but it would be nice if he had. I mean, he's running back number one right now. It'd be nice if he got into the 20s and help mitigate Taylor and Benjamin. This having this guy back, I think, is good, but it's against a bad matchup unless they pressure Goff so quick that he just has to get rid of the ball and slant routes. And I think Brown's going to have a big game, but they could suffocate Goff and he never get the ball off. And this I think 8 might be a little high if Dallas's defense is on point, but um, I mean. I want to pick me, but I really don't know. I think Godwin against Brady helps mitigate a little bit, but him having Taylor and Swift back, uh, right when Midnight's the new album comes out. I mean, what great timing. I'm gonna go with Maze, which
Yeah.
really sucks, but
One, Jerry, I'm surprised you didn't trade one of your quarterbacks to me. But when I had all these injuries going on, the luxury of being able to play Lamar when Jalen's out is real
yeah,
nice.
yeah,
I think this one your strength I look at besides quarterback is running back and that 19 from Eno to offset that. I agree. I think with Swift and Taylor to go, that offsets a lot of your advantage at the running
hmm
back situation. And I got to go Mod. I know his
yeah,
team's been very fortunate thus far. I could see us going either way, but I slightly lean Mod.
yeah. We didn't even talk about Kittle. I think he's got me in the tight end matchup,
Yeah.
but where these next two, I apologize. We'll
I'm going to
probably,
blast through them. I'll
yeah,
cover my really high level and then you can add any other texture. Shmi versus Scales. This matchup's tied 6 wins apiece, with Shmi winning last year in ugly fashion, 83-75. I've got, for the breakdown on my end, Buffalo being off hurts both teams a little bit. Obviously, Shmi more with Josh Allen, but Scales does lose Davis. I look at this and I see, Scales got a decent base going on Thursday. Nothing
hmm
extraordinary with Hopkins and Kamara.
hmm
But you look at versus Shmi got the 7 points with the receiving touchdown that Hill had. I
hmm
think that it's neck and neck, but I've barely got Scales somehow pulling this off. I think playing Pickett is back, but losing Allen this week comes back to bite Shmi, and I give Scales just an ever so slight advantage. What do you got?
Yeah, I think just the quarterback matchup with Garoppolo could be a good game script. I mean, I don't think San Fran will win the game, but I think they'll be behind and he'll throw quite a bit. And he has the double up with anytime he hits Debo, he's going to get more points. This guy has kind of been a stud lately, and then I just with Harris not playing like he did last year and like really getting bottled up in that offense. He's going to be rooting for the Steelers pretty hardcore, but I just don't think it's enough on Sunday Night Football. I would lean scales on this one.
Yep, agreed.
Sorry to cut your guys short, but
time is time. So
yeah.
who we got here? We got CB and Taylor. Here's an interesting factoid. Taylor is a surprising 10-4 all time against CB.
Wow.
CB did win last year, and that broke a crazy 9-game losing streak to Taylor.
Jeez.
And this still continues, even though winning last year. CB has not broken 100 points. I think 93 was the highest. He hasn't broken 100 points in 10 straight matchups against Taylor for whatever reason. So I've got, just high level. Taylor's team is decimated by the bye week from Minnesota. He's got holes to fill, obviously. So he got an incomplete look here. CB got off to a nice start with Olave breaking the 100% bonus to go with 14. Basically, I've got CB winning. Taylor needs his RBs to carry him to pull this off. It's possible, but I've got CB.
Yeah, I have CB. Just a bad week to with his top two guys on a. But not that Kirk Cousins is his top guy, but whenever Cousins
QB1 and your clear top player on your team. Well, I mean, he's got Ja'Marr Chase, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean Chase could have a big game, and he balled out last game, which really hurt me because that made Burrow have a good game. But those two will negate each other as well. But I don't know who he's going to put in here. I haven't looked at the wire. He's got 3 great running backs. Any other week I probably lean Taylor. I think the stats that you show it that he's got 3 great running backs, 2 great receivers, and a quarterback. I mean, his team should make the playoffs, but he's probably going to go to 2-5 and have to climb his way up, which really stinks. But yeah, I'm going to go CB as well, just with the buys.
Yeah, I think the only path is CB hasn't been able to break 100 against Taylor. I could see that again. And if Carolina is such a shit show that Fournette just becomes a battering ram and somehow goes off again, Carolina's defense isn't that bad, but maybe that's his way through. I don't know.
Great
also,
stuff.
Taylor put in a waiver claim for Green Bay defense. Don't let Jack get that.
He's got Baltimore defense who he'll probably put in, but he needs these guys. He doesn't have any. I mean, he has he can put Claypool or Gage, but he needs a quarterback.
He needs a QB. There's not a ton out there. Geno Smith will be on waivers because I dropped him. That might be his best option.
Awesome.
Alrighty. Well,
great
it's been
stuff,
real.
Man.
Have fun on your 1 o'clock call.
Thanks. See you, man.
See ya. Bye.